Penn State beats Army 20-14, and afterward, James Franklin wanted to be positive. They're 1-0 this week. He was pressed a lot on his offense, which struggled today, did not gain 300 yards. Penn State's offense is in the bottom 10 in the country. So just what do you make of the offensive struggles today, first off?
You know, it just continues. It just doesn't seem like they have had a great feel for who they want to be or been able to get to who they want to be. I think they want to be more of a running team, even with a kid that looks like he has, more of an upside potential as a quarterback, at least as a passer. But I just don't think between all the injuries that they've been able to get there.
Well, let me ask you the same question that I asked James Franklin. He got pretty fired up about it. People have probably seen the video. You beat Army by 6 points. This was about a 4-touchdown spread. The fans, it was a miserable day. Fans aren't happy about this type of performance, but the team won. So how do you balance that? How do you gauge you're a coach and players? You win the game, but you weren't impressive by any stretch.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of teams that can make a living by being unimpressive offensively and still win. Usually they have great defenses and super kicking games. I think this defense is generally pretty good today. It got gashed a little more on the run. Army's a tougher team to play against defensively, but their punting game and their kickoffs and their return game aren't the kind that can really just carry an offense. So, I think this is clearly still a work in progress.
Okay, but let's tackle the other part of it. There are a lot of programs that are happy anyway they win a game. But when you've got 107,000 seats in a stadium, and we'll bring up the stadium issue here in a minute, and you've got a gigantic fan base that you've got to please, okay, your coach can talk about how proud he is after a 20-14 win, but when your fan base looks at that and they're unimpressed, okay, well, there's the dilemma that you end up facing if you don't have a sexy football team.
Yeah, and they don't. And I mean, right now, they're still not 100% healed from where they've been, particularly on the offensive line. And you lose to one really good tailback and another one who's experienced in Lynch. And so you're still trying to get by with that. And I think that's all added up into where this is. I mean, Hackenberg was sacked a couple times, including after a long time out for an injury. And you think that's a place that maybe they have a decent play that they're ready to run, and all of a sudden, boom, Army sacks your quarterback. So very unimpressive offensively, but they're 4-1 after a terrible start against Temple, and it's hard to be real optimistic about the rest of the way.
And that's the problem, because now you get into Big Ten play next week, and if they come out next week and beat Indiana, then people will feel better. I'm picking Indiana. Then you've got Ohio State. I mean, you're talking about now, if you're unimpressive against
Army,
Army,
you're picking Penn State to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, not in any universe. If you're barely beating Buffalo and San Diego State and Army, how are you going to have any hopes of having a solid Big Ten season?
Well, I don't know what they hope for or what is right, but I think people thought there would be more progress offensively, particularly with a veteran leader at this point in Hackenberg. You get down to, and this is where I don't understand. I think there's a square peg round hole situation here. You're down at the 12-yard line. You got a guy who Trent Dilfer just got saying that this guy could be Troy Aikman. He reminds him of Troy Aikman. You should be able to run a slant for a touchdown almost any time you want it, and yet they didn't even try. They ran 3 times into the middle of the line with backup personnel. So I just think they're still not comfortable with this kind of quarterback, and I'm sure he's not comfortable with them. They're trying to make the best of it.
Well, real quick, you're right about the stadium issue, which is a huge topic for the fan base. You've been around a long time. This stadium has great tradition and memories, and it's iconic and all of that, but there are a lot of issues with this stadium.
Yeah,
rebuild, renovate, what do you do?
Yeah, I think that, in announcing what they did, they're going to get a lot of feedback internally and externally, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, what you're going to talk about with the stadium is sure a lot more positive than what you saw in the field today. And they're still into, I think, where does the next generation of Penn State football go? Where does it come from as far as the fan base, an older fan base? I don't think this is a decision that they can jump into quickly, and I think they got to really come out of these sanctions and see what kind of a product, see how interested the fan base is, you know, to go, you know, into the next, you know, half decade or so.
You're going to spend $200–300 million or $1 billion if you build a new stadium. I'll tie it back to football. You better have a product on the field that people want to watch. 100,000 people want to watch. That's the issue, because you rolled out this kind of offense. You know, and we're just watching Baylor, Texas Tech. They're going to score 75, 80 points in that game.
They can't stop anything.
That's right, but that is entertaining, and if your choice is being here in the rain or being on your couch where you can pause your 60-inch TV, you would better put a product on the field that your people want to watch.
Yeah, but I think this is just one game also, and it's
this is a year and a half of this coaching staff. It's not one game.
Right, but I think that, you know, you were left with I think until he gets all his own players in here, and it'll be more of a fair assessment. I mean, granted, you would think they would have been able to make more hay with what they've had, even though, you know, their offensive line just doesn't seem like it's been able to create, you know, a consistent foundation for what they want to do.
All right, for Neil Rudel, I'm Corey Geiger. Thanks to Mark Polio on our video. Have a good day.